Hello everyone. Today is just a quick video about my personal immune response to the second dose of the COVID vaccine. I received my first dose of the Pfizer vaccine on December 30th and then my second dose on January 20th, so 21 days apart. I think exactly. So that's good, and that's what's recommended. The Pfizer product is 21 days, the Moderna product is 28 days, and as you know, there has been unwarranted controversy around the COVID vaccine. Please refer to my last video and I will discuss in greater detail how this was in no way a rush job, how this is a very safe and very targeted vaccine and truly holds the hope for our entire society overcoming this current pandemic. So you'll remember if you watched the last video that I don't really call whatever symptoms you could have after the vaccines a side effect of the vaccine so much as an example of your immune system responding to that vaccine. So after my first dose, I had maybe just a little bit of tenderness in my arm. Maybe it was a little sore for barely at all the first day, maybe a little bit the second day, and literally that was it. Nothing. I was totally fine. And then obviously, if you understand the immunology of how vaccines work, we hope that your body recognizes this foreign invader, this protein that your ribosomes will make from the message of the messenger RNA and have a bigger, more vigorous response to it, but that's going to take a little while to cook. So sure enough, I'm usually currently off on Wednesdays. I got that vaccine on the 20th, which was a week ago today. So by 7 to 10 days following the second dose of the vaccine, I should have around 95% protection, which is super cool. Around the first dose, after 7 to 10 days, around 70% protection. So it is important to get that second dose, as this is how the study was done. This is how we've tested for effectiveness. So on January 20th, this time I got it in my left arm. I felt maybe a little bit sore on that arm, but did my usual activities. I was off that day. I do think maybe that night I was a little tired. Yes, I was, because I had my husband take our daughter to Bible drill practice that night. And then the next day I went to work. It was a regular Thursday. I saw the standard number of patients and did okay. But I do specifically remember I could not get warm. I had to borrow a heater from another provider. Thank you very much, Dr. Jenkins. And then I put it in my pod and I could stay barely warm if I was staying right beside of the heater. And like I said, I was just maybe a little tired and freezing cold. So when I got home that night, I checked my temp orally and it was 100.4 degrees, which is fine, no big deal. Really not a big deal at all, but I was still so cold. So I took a hot shower, and I happen to have Raynaud's, which is just when your nail beds will turn blue when you're a little chilly. And in the middle of that hot shower, my nail beds were still blue. I was so cold. And so I got into the recliner with my fuzzy gown and my fuzzy robe and a fuzzy blanket. And finally, after a dose of ibuprofen, felt comfortable and warm and actually slept well that night of the day after and have been completely fine ever since then. So my only symptoms at all from the second dose were just the next day. And I did have maybe a headache, but you know, I have fatigue periodically anyway. I'm 51 years old. And I have a headache periodically anyway. So really the only thing that stood out to me was just feeling cold that day. So that was a very minimal response. And to be perfectly honest, I'm glad that happened, or I would have been afraid I had no immune recognition of the actual foreign protein, you know, the spike protein that your body's making from this vaccine. So I was very pleased that I didn't have anything more bothersome, but also pleased that I had something at all. So I feel like I did respond to the vaccine, which is very exciting. And now I'm excited because now that I'm a week out, I should be 95% effectively protected against a COVID virus. So that's pretty cool stuff. I hope this was helpful. Obviously, you can see I've done all my research. We providers really don't enjoy it sometimes when patients say that, because they don't usually mean it in a good way. And so having done all my research and knowing what I'm doing when I read studies and I see that this vaccine is safe and is effective, obviously I chose to get it for myself. I would highly encourage you to do so as well. And you may have a few symptoms of an immune response that following day, but don't be alarmed. That just means it's working like it should. Thanks.